Once again, welcome everybody. So the first thing we're going to look at in the track is the different section of the track. The intro, the drops, breaks, and so on. Just before I start, I might get a bit technical into some of the stuff here. Sorry. But just bear with me. I'll try to explain things as I go. So let's dive into it. So we'll start right from the beginning, the intro. So usually the intro is around 1 minute long. So if you can see down here into the little bar, so around 1 minute, around 16 bars. And then right before the first drop, there's a little break where I remove the kick from it. So then we go into the first drop. Where we can hear the bass is being introduced here for the first time. So usually the intro, this is used in a DJ set, for example. So this will be mixed with the previous track. So the DJ will mix this part and then it will come right to the drop, and that's where the song will start. Or some DJ will keep mixing the drop as well and until the second drop. Yeah, and then we go to the second part of the drop. Where there's new elements being introduced, like the stab over here, the viola, the violin, being introduced here for the first time, and then we go into another break. Where the kick is being filtered, and then into the third, and there's a second drop. Where the violin is more prominent here, and then into the second section of the second drop. Then into the longer break, where all the elements has been been removed, should I say, to just drop the energy of the track. So after two drops, we'll have like a longer break, and then until here, and then here is the build up. And then we go right into the main drop of the track. And then into the second section. And then a small break, which will bring us to the last drop of the track, and from here on the last drop until the end, this is where some of the elements are getting, the energy is getting lower and lower, so we're going towards the outro. Usually the outro is where the next track in a DJ set, the next track will get introduced, will be mixed in. Perfect. So that's just an overview of the track itself. Now we're going to look at the different types of elements in the track. So we'll start with the low end. So all the kick, bass, and the low tone. I will take a look at the kick first, which is playing a 4 to the floor pattern, so it's on a very downbeat, uh, which is very common for dance music, house, techno, and so on. It sounds like this. Perfect. So for the kick, I always use those 7 kicks in any of my song, my track, just to avoid going into a rabbit hole of finding the correct kick for each track. And I went for this one here, which fits the track, which the whole track, by the way, it's in G minor. So this kick here, fundamental frequency of that kick is in G. So if you have a look in the little square here, I will hover where the peak is. You can see it's G, like speaking G, so that fits the track perfectly. So it's in key. And in terms of processing, just slight cut here on 200, just lower the body a bit, and the click of the kick itself. So we just lower this here because it's for me it sounded a bit too boxy, so we just lower this here. Now the next element is the bass. So we'll just have a look at the pattern first. It's a very simple pattern, and it starts on E flat, goes down to C, to a G, which is the root note, and then back down to a B flat. Very simple, and this pattern repeats all over the song. It's just the same pattern all over the whole song here, for the bass. And so we're going to have a look at the sound design for this. I'm just going to deactivate all the processing here. So we'll take a look at the raw sound itself. I'll remove the filter, and yeah, so that's how it sounds. Oh, I do believe there's a the cue here didn't out. Yeah, so yeah. So bass, the sound is consists of 2 oscillators. The first one, which is the top oscillator, it is sawtooth wave, and the second one is a sine wave, which is kind of the base of the sound, which is set at -12 semitone. So this sawtooth sound like this, and then when you add the sub to it, the sub on itself, and then together, then we send those 2 oscillators into a filter, and then the filter movement is controlled by the envelope through the matrix, so envelope 2. This shape will control how the filter opens and closes on each hit for the bass. Perfect. And then I put this into mono. This means that only one note can be heard at each time. Can be played at each time. Sorry. That's it for the sound design itself. And then I send this into a distortion just to give more presence to the bass. So that's without, that's with. So it has a bit more presence, quite high amount on each band over here, and set to 100%. And then right after that, we'll remove some of the high frequency from the sound. So that's with, and that's without. Because usually bass, we don't really want it to be that in that register here for the how do you say, for the frequency spectrum. Next, oh yeah, sorry, missed this one. This is the side chain. So every time the kick is being played, the bass get ducked down in the volume, gets reduced down. Very classic processing is that which is used in electronic music um, production. It's like a pumping effect or a push and pull. Uh, then the next element is the tom over here, uh, which is kind of playing in the pocket of the bass. So whenever the bass is not playing, the tom is playing here. And the tom processing is just removed all the low end. So altogether, they will sound like this. Let's start from the beginning. So it feels like the tom is actually talking to uh, the bass, like an answer uh, and a reply, a question, sorry, and an answer and sorry, a question and an answer kind of the relationship going on. And then in the main group, so those three elements are all grouped together, and we'll have a glue compressor here, which is set at a very fast attack, very slow attack, and a fast release. So this will allow all the transient of the sound to come through, and then it just get ducked down very quickly afterwards. It's set to a ratio 1:4. Um, and then we add 4 dB of gain, because if you don't do that, there will be 4 dB of gain reduction from the compressor. I can see speaking around 4, so then we'll just add 4 dB here to compensate. Yep, that's it. And this auto filter here, it's used only for arrangement purposes. For example, in the breaks, so we'll filter the kick and the break and the kick and the bass out. Perfect. So now we'll take a look at the drums. So the drums is the main uh, rhythmical part of the song itself. So that what gives the groove, which is very important in any song, any genre of music. So we'll start first with the shaker loop. It's just a sample. Uh, It sounds like this. I've added a bit of noise on top of it, so that's without. So with the noise, and then we'll just cut all the frequency that we don't need. So this type of EQ here and this process, we'll see that quite often in the drums, because we don't want frequency in this section here, especially in the bass, because that will um, make like a build-up of frequencies into that region over here, and that clash with the bass over here, and we don't want that. That will cause a lot of muddiness in the track, and some of the element will be masked by those frequencies. So we'll take this out here and just use the frequency, the high frequency over here, a bit of resonant cut over here, and yeah, that's it. The next element is a top loop. So kind of the same thing here, is adds act as a support. So we are kind of like layering, sorry, the sound. So that's without the processing. Just tame it down a bit. And just removing this part over here that we don't need. Perfect. And just a limiter to just catch the peaks of the flats of the top loop, sorry. So the next one is a close hat. So there's two of those which act more of an accent into the drums. So if you notice the first one is pan 34 to the left and 26 to the right. They're kind of like talking to each other, and on the left and the right. So the first sound, very simple processing here. Again, same thing, taking out all the lows. Second one, more of a MIDI pattern. I'm gonna try to make them talk to each other, question and answer type of thing. And on again, and on this one here again, take out all the lows. Yeah. And then the next one is the open hat, which is happening on the offbeat. So that's in between the kicks. So that's what creates the push and pull effect in house music. So the kick will happen here, then you have a hi-hat, and then the kick again, and that repeats. And then towards the end, it's like a ghost note, to just giving it like a skipping kind of effect here to the end. Let's take a listen. Perfect. So in terms of processing again, usual suspect, the noise, just to give a bit of air to the sound. Very subtle. And then EQ, just to control the resonance, and a little boost over here. Perfect. And that's it. The compressor's not doing really anything here. Then I added this is sent to a written channel, which is used to give like a widening kind of effect to the it's more kind of like to the side of the speakers. And then the next element is an is an open hat again, which act as a layer from the first one. Same type of processing here, same pattern as well. It's just a copy paste. It's just a different sound. Same here, EQ, control the resonances, and then both together adds more weight to the open hat because it's such a crucial element in that genre. And the next one is the snare. So I've used a different snare before, but I didn't really like the sound of it. It was a bit too thin. So I sampled this one from the reference track that I've used for this. It's a track by Sébastien Léger. It's called Safari. I really like the vibe of that song, and the snare was really nice in there. So I've just went in the song and just got the and used take the snare and just use it here. Very simple stuff. This is not being used. Just got the lows again, and then a bit of delay that is happening after every 8 bars, I believe. It's just going into the next section, and that effect is getting sidechained by the dry signal itself. So every time the delay is happening, uh, it's kind of getting ducked down and by the dry signal over here. You can see the effect, like ducking down the sound. Perfect. That's it. And a bit of compressor just to control the level when both the delay and the dry signal is getting played together. Perfect. So the next one is the percussion, which I had a lot of fun to actually make. You can see there's a lot of trial and errors that went through. Lots of clip that got deactivate, and then I was happy with this pattern here. Yep, and a bit of EQ, cut the lows, boost a bit at 1K, and that's it. Very simple stuff. And then we have two drum fills. First one sound like this, which is a bigger, a longer loop. But I've used only this section here, which fits the track here. It gives a bit of variation into the loop itself because this genre is very loop based thing. So we try to add some variation here and there to just refresh the ear so it doesn't sound too repetitive. And then another drum fill over here. And both processing here, it's very simple, just taking the lows from here and there. Yep. And yeah, so then we will have a look at the whole bus. So a bus is like the group for the whole drum part, which I added some type of saturation in it just to give a bit more body to the sound itself, to the whole bus. Oh, sorry, just solo this. So that's with, and that's without. So it gives a bit more presence in the track. And then a bit of EQ, just because the saturation will add a bit of bass into the sound. So we need to just cut that out and keep the mid and the high. see all this here, we don't need that. That will clash, sorry, with the bass. Perfect. Then we sidechain the whole group from the kick. So every time the kick's played, it's get the whole group level gets knocked down. Now that's a bit exaggerated. Yeah, right about here is fine. And then a glue compressor, just to, well, as the name says, glue everything together. Uh, the attack is set at 3, quite a slow attack. So that means that the sound or the transients of each drum sound, get passed through, and then the release is set very fast. So after it passed through, it gets ducked down very fast. Um, After that, and the threshold is set at 21 minus 21.6, and 3 dB of gain. Again, same as the bass group. We will have a gain reduction here at around 2.53. We'll just add this back to balance the level. Perfect. And then utility, which is not really being used here, and the auto filter is being used. I believe it's only one section here, just in the break, just in the long break in the middle of the song, just to bring down the whole energy, because there's a lot of high energy in the drum. So we'll just bring the whole energy down. So this will allow for the instrument to be played in that section, and just like a rest before the main drop. So the whole drum sounds like, the whole drum group sounds like this. Perfect. Oh, also, yeah, this whole group will send it into a drum verb, a drum reverb. So it's like mimicking a drummer that is playing a drum in a room, because without that it's very dry. So it will give a kind of an illusion that the drums are happening in a room, which is more realistic. So that's the reverb here. That's the room sets to all the way, and then we'll send 20%, 22% to that return channel over here. So that's the room, verb on itself. There's some other elements that getting sent into this. That's why we are hearing some other sound as well in this. It's perfect. So now we'll move on to the instruments. I'll play all of them together first. So it sounds a bit chaotic here because everything is getting played together, because I want to show all the elements. But if you see in the song, there's some, like, each element is getting introduced and taken out in different parts of the song, which create a nice movement of the song, not too repetitive. Um, as I said before, it's a very repetitive kind of genre. So we'll try to take element in and out and create different sections. So we'll take a look at the first one, which is a static pad. So this pad is uh, depends all along the song that creates the vibe, uh, which is only one chord is getting played uh, over here, which is the G, and then the G one octave up, and then the fifth, and then the third is getting usually it should be here, so that's the third. But we are playing the third an octave higher to a different voicing uh, for that pad. So it sounds like this, and it's just static. So we'll just have a look at this at the sound, the basic sound itself. Like this. Then EQ it just because remember this is a background sound, so it shouldn't be too in front of the track. So just cut some of the high and the lows, and then we send it into a big reverb at 87.6% and 14.21 for the decay. So it makes it very lush. And then put some autopan just to create movement from left to right. And then auto filter has been used on the breaks to create tensions to go into other sections of the track, mostly for using arrangement. And then it gets sidechained, so it ducks down every time the kick is hitting as well to create that push and pull effect. Perfect. So that's it for the static pad. And then we'll move on to the stab right here. Take a look at the pattern first. So it's kind of like following the snare. If you wish, yeah, kind of like the snare, and sound like this. Yeah, it's just a loop that I use. Just a loop that is in the key of the song in G minor, and some echo onto it, 35%. Just giving some kind of space, and then an EQ, which is being controlled by the LFO, so it creates a movement in the sound, so it's not the same uh, um, every time. Perfect. And then some mid-side EQ, just taking the sides from it, side information, and then the mid. And auto filter is just to control the sound in and out again from the arrangement. And the next one is a second stab. Again, this is being used in different sections when the first stab is not really playing. This is there, so if you take a look, Yeah, so both of them are playing together here. So that's okay. I think it's getting introduced gradually somewhere. Anyway, yeah, so we'll take a look at the sound itself. So we'll take those processing here. So it sounds like this. So it's only one oscillator is being a sawtooth is being played here. Uh, Actually, I think it's a square. Yeah. Uh, and then it's been sent into a filter, which again it's controlled is being controlled by the envelope. Where over here you send it into the filter frequency into the matrix, and then this will control the opening and closing of this. Will create more of a stub. Well, the name stub uh, for the sound. We, so we're about finding the sweet spot by playing with the decay here. So this is attack, decay, sustain, and release. ADSR uh, is to shape the sound. And then it's I'm using the classic unison. So without the unison, it's like this. And I'm using the classic one. So three voices, that means the sound is getting duplicate 3 times, and it's slightly detuned by 15%. And it's sent into it's the 3 copies detuned at 15%, sent into the left and the right speakers. It gives that wide kind of effect to it. Then it's sent into an overdrive. So this more of a distortion kind of effect. Quite a bit here, 36%. And then an EQ, because the distortion will create low frequencies, so we don't want that. So you see this here, we don't want all this. And then a delay. And that's it. Those two are not being used here. And the next sound is the chords or the chords. We'll take a look. So it's playing an E flat, a G, E flat again, and an E flat, a B flat, sorry, before that, and then an E flat. It sounds like this. So this one is a C, and build a chord on top of it. So every time we are skipping one, so all the ones that is highlighted, those are all the notes that's in the key of G minor. So to make a chord, we can just skip one note, and then that's how you basically make a chord in the key of your liking. In this here, and then you can just voice them together. So you can sometimes skip um, some notes as well, and as long as you are using the notes that are highlighted, it should sound great. So it should be in key. Again, this we can go very deep into music theory, so I'll just leave that for now, and we'll move on to the sound design. Sound design is very simple. It's just a stock synthesizer from sounds like a Rhodes type of sound, which you can hear from in many tracks in different genres as well. The sound is just lovely. So this is the um, the fundamental, how do you say, the harmonic fundamental of the track, the whole vibe, um, in other words, and of the whole track. Um, and then this is getting sent into a convolution reverb, which will take this into space. So this is the dry, and this is the wet. Perfect. Just take out the lows here again. We don't need that. And a bit of around 1K over here, just for the reverb itself. And then afterwards, usual thing, take out the lows, put around 300 here, because that's a bit of a create the boxy kind of effect. We don't really want that in here. And then just boost a bit around 1K, and that's it. And the filter is only used again for um arrangement purpose. Oh, actually didn't use it in this one, so that's all right. And then we moved on to the violin, which sound like this. So the violin pattern, uh, just consolidate. If you look at both the chords and the violin, it's kind of the violin is kind of playing the same notes, like the top section of the chords. So that's what creates the kind of a melody with it. And for the violin, I believe I used a contact library. I'm just trying to open it here. So it's a just bear with me. Unfortunately, I think it's not opening. Oh yeah, there we are. It was opening on the screen over here. So it's a Joshua Bell violin library, which is very sweet sound. I use that a lot in different track of mine whenever I need like a violin sound. Then a auto filter to just bring the sound in, and it goes into a reverb, which is create like the room sound. So without it, it's like this, and with it, it's like this. Again, we want that lush kind of sound uh, in it, and then EQ again. And all those EQs are just for mixing purposes. It's just not it's just to prevent build-up of frequencies in different areas here. And then we have a viola support, which is playing one octave higher. It's the same pattern, but it's just playing one octave higher than the violin. So it creates an energy boost in the second section of the second drop. It sounds like this. So this is just a serum patch. It's just a preset. Very simple sound. Again, I'm not really going to go into more details about it. And then it's getting sent into a reverb. So again, same as the violin before, into a space. So that's without, and that's with. And then EQ, again, just take out the high and an auto filter to just bring the sound in and out throughout the track. So with the violin, it's together, they both sound like this. Lovely. Now, the lead part, it sound like this. In itself, it doesn't really sound that great, but in the context of the track, it, uh, it sounds perfect. So uh, here it's a see the note here. It's a B flat going to an E flat to an F, and then a passing note over here going down to a D to C, then three passing notes going back down, going to the B. And for the sound itself, we're using Diva, which is a preset again from Bound to Divide. Just Hyper is the name. Again, I won't be going too much into the sound design. That's a whole we can do a whole session just just for sound design. And then the whole sound is getting sent into an EQ again just to clear up the frequencies, and then into a reverb. Let's wait out. Let's wait. And then it's getting sidechained from the next sound, which is the up. So the up is like the melody here. So every time the melody is playing, this lead will get ducked. So the melody will be kind of on top of the lead, um, which we will have a look at the up next. And then just auto filter again to for arrangement purposes, just bring it in and out. Now take a look at the up. I'll take out all the processing here. We'll activate them one by one. So that's the dry sound, which is a loop on itself. So just an up. So it's playing kind of the same pattern as the lead, but long sustain notes, which is playing a G, the root note, the D, a G, one octave higher, and then back down to the D. And then all this is getting sent into a redux to give it a bit more of a gritty kind of sound. So this will add harmonics to the sound. Harmonics means that it will, so if you take a look at the spectrum here, we'll just take those out for now. So if I take the redux over here, in this area here, you see there's more harmonics that are getting added to the sound. So this will make the sound to stick out more when all the elements are playing. So the melody is more prominent. And I use the LFO to add movement to the frequency of um, the sound itself. So it sounds like this. So it creates more of an interest, make the sound more interesting, should I say. And then EQ again, just to clear up the sound, because we don't want the bass in it. And then into a reverb. And yeah, that's it. The compressor is not really doing much here. Well, it's not doing anything. I can just remove that. And other filter here again to bring it in and out in the track. Yeah, so that's the whole element for the instrument. So we'll take a look at the group now, the group processing. Again, in filter, so we'll take all the lows here. We don't want that. Well, there's not much here, but just to be safe, we'll just take it out there, and to be sure that there's no low frequencies are sticking out. With little boost at 1.6K here, and then another EQ for the mid and the side. So mostly the mid, the side, sorry. Uh, we'll take out the side here until maybe 400, let's say. And then some glue compressor. Very tiny bit. The needle is barely moving over here. Oh, actually, I should play all the elements together. This is to control the volume of the sound, of all the sound together, and glue them together as well. And then sidechain from the kick, so it getting ducked down every time the kick is going. That's it for the instrument. So for the main part of all the sound, those three consist the whole track, and then the effects part is just bits and bobs, just embellishment in the track itself. So the first one is just that vocal stab. Very subtle. And then the second one is the gate. So the gate is not audible, this one, but it's controlling the next element, which is another vocal stab. So there is a gate effect on this one here. So every time a hit happen over here, the sound goes through. The gate opens and let the track in, so we can create some kind of rhythmical pattern for this sound over here. So without this, it sounds like this. So once we apply the gate, it's more of a rhythmical thing, and then it goes into a chorus. So it creates movement in the track as well. So the blue is the left channel, and the other line is the right channel, left and right channel. So they are slightly out of phase here. And then EQ again to take out all the lows. And yeah, that's it for the sound. Oh yeah, it's getting sent to some bust over here. First one, so we're sending that to the drum bus over here. So it's just to create some kind of so all the sound are coherent together, so it's like from the same space. Let's just send a bit of that over here, and there's some elements as well in the instrument that's getting sent over here as well that I didn't go through, I believe. No. Okay, that's all right. But usually you will send a couple of elements to the same bus, to the same return track. Sorry, that will create like the track is getting played in one room. Uh, yeah. Then this one here, this is more of an embellishment type of effect. So acts more like ear candy kind of thing. So it's a long loop with a chop down. So I didn't want to use the whole loop, so I just chop it down to some pieces here and there and just use it as ear candies. And then this sound, oh yeah, and take a look at the processing. It's just an echo to make the sound like kind of fade out, and EQ to just cut the lows again and boost some of the around 1.9K over here. And then this one, so this sound happens at every section. It's just like an introduction at each section of the track, and it's a sound from a plugin called Vital. I believe I just got that from some drum and bass batch, something like that. I just used that. It sounded great. That's without the processing, which was too prominent, so we just tame it down a bit again. Take all the lows. And I didn't really like that low fundamental frequency over here, so I'll just take it down with a different EQ, and that's it. Those two are not really doing much. And then the last element is just white noise. So this is to create impact and tension going into different section here. And the last part is just the build up for the, it's just a build, create tension going towards the main drop over here. Yeah, which is just a snare roll in every 16th note, with the velocity of the other one a bit down, and then going up. We're using the frequency just to bring it in. You can see it moving here, and the volume getting increased with some delay as well. So it's the same snare as in the drum section. Actually, I'm not using the delay on this one here. And a bass swell to add a bit more body to the build up, and white noise, which is getting filtered up and creeping in, create tension here. And this movement here is just to create more tension. And then the whole track release into the drop itself, creating great impact. Yeah, so that's everything for the elements. So I'll go into my main channel, my master channel. So that is all the sound is getting fed into this channel here. So in this one, I'm using an EQ, like a vintage EQ. Is just boosting 12 kilohertz over here. It's just to add presence. So I'll just deactivate everything here. And those are just visualization. It's okay. So that's a whole track, everything off. You can see that the volume have dropped. So usually I'll be producing around -6 here. And then for my master chain. So I'll add this one. So you can see there's a boost in the high end. And then next is soothe. Soothe is usually used to reduce peaks. It's just to gently reduce all the from the high sound from the drums, like the hi hats and stuff like that. And then goes into a compressor again to compress the whole everything together, so make them coherent, all of them, all of the elements. So quite a fast, quite a slow attack, should I say, and a fast release. So all the transient, all the sound gets uh, through the compressor and then quickly gets reduced down. So it's more snappy. And there's quite a lot of gain being added here. So that's like boosting the whole track. So usually it sounds like this. And then we've the compressor without the gain, and then we'll add volume to it, so we increase it, make it louder. Perfect. And then this EQ here, I usually use it only for mixing purposes, so it's between 400, usually 300 to 400, and then between here to 4,000. So usually this is trying to mimic the sound of like laptop speakers and phone speakers, because usually you won't get frequencies in those areas over here. So this is trying to mimic that. But usually the whole soul of the whole track is in that frequency range over here, and those bass and highs, most devices won't replicate those frequencies there. So by limiting myself to those frequency, I can really focus on the track and make sure that all the elements, especially the bass and the drums, are translating well into those areas. If they do, it will sound great in any device, any speakers, should I say, that the song is being played on. And then it goes into an Oxford inflator, so this like a maximizer. Is just add kind of saturation and volume, and then a limiter to just control the peaks, because we don't want to blow up the whole universe. So it's just to control the sound. Yeah, that's the last spreading, and those are just references, just to check the frequency and the of the track, and span here. Um, to make sure that all the frequencies are. So I will usually have this window open in my second screen. So whenever I'm adding elements, I can see which frequencies is taking part, which space the frequency is taking, is occurring, should I say. Yep, that's it. That's everything. I hope you enjoyed. And if also one of you guys wants to know a bit more in depth into music production and how I do things, because there's a lot that we can go in depth here. I'll just glance over things. You're welcome to get in contact with me. Just send me a ping. I'll be more than happy. We can schedule a one-on-one, and we can do something. That's something I'm very interested in doing. Um, yeah. So that's it for me. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you soon. Bye bye.